They laughed at you. Not just once, not just twice, but every time you dared to believe in yourself. They scoffed at your dreams, rolled their eyes at your ambitions, and turned your struggles into their entertainment. You weren't a person to them. You were a joke, a punchline to their cruel humor, a whisper behind closed doors, a chuckle in the hallways. They called you weak, worthless, insignificant, and maybe, just maybe, you started to believe them. The words weren't just insults. They were daggers, sinking deep into your skin, each one carving a fresh wound into your confidence. They didn't just mock you. They planted seeds of doubt inside you, seeds that grew into a forest of hesitation, fear, and self-loathing. Every time you tried to step forward, their voices echoed in your mind, dragging you back into the shadow. You remember the way they looked at you, the smirk, the sideways glances, the shaking heads. You remember the way they dismissed you, like you were nothing more than background noise in the story of their own greatness. You were invisible when you needed to be seen, and the only time they noticed you was when they needed someone to ridicule. And it hurt. God, it hurt. It burned in your chest like fire, an unbearable pressure pressing against your ribs, suffocating you. You lay awake at night, replaying every moment, every insult, every rejection, wondering what was wrong with you. Were you really that pathetic? Were you really that useless? Had they seen something in you that you were too blind to recognize? But here's what they never understood. Pain doesn't just destroy, it transforms. Humiliation doesn't just break, it builds. And every time they laughed, every time they pushed you down, they weren't burying you. They were planting you. You see, people like them don't understand the power of the underestimated. They don't see the strength that lies beneath the surface of suffering. They mistake your silence for surrender. They mistake your struggles for weakness. They mistake your patience for passivity. And that will be their greatest mistake, because you are not what they say you are. You never were. They think they've won. They think they've crushed you beneath the weight of their mockery. They think they've written your story for you, that you'll play the role they assigned you forever. But they're wrong. What they don't see, what they will never see until it's too late, is the fire that's still burning inside you. Small, maybe, hidden perhaps, but still alive. And that fire, that's the very thing that will one day consume everything they built on your pain. So here's the question. This is your past, but will you let it be your future? Will you let their laughter write the next chapter of your life? Will you let their words define you? Will you stay in the corner they shoved you into? Or will you step forward and rewrite the script? They thought you were a joke. They thought wrong. The nights stretched long and merciless. Silence pressed against your ears, but your mind screamed with noise, questions, doubts, fears. They didn't just visit you, they owned you, wrapped around your throat like a noose, whispering the same poison over and over again. Maybe they're right. You tried to shake it off. You told yourself their words didn't matter. But when the world got quiet, when the distractions faded, and you were left alone with your own reflection, you felt it creeping in, that doubt, that insidious voice clawing its way into your thoughts. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I really am nothing. Maybe this fight is pointless. You looked in the mirror, searching for something, anything, that resembled strength. But all you saw was a stranger, a shadow of the person you were meant to be. The fire in your eyes, dimensions, the confidence in your stance, gone. You stood there staring, questioning, hating the emptiness staring back at you. How did it come to this? When did you become so lost? Fear gripped your chest like an iron fist. It wasn't just in your mind. It was in your body, a weight pressing against your ribs, a tightness in your throat, a tremor in your hands. Every dream you had seemed so far away, so impossible, and every time you tried to move forward, that same fear held you back, whispering the same cold lie. Why bother? You'll just fail anyway. The cycle was relentless. Every step you took, doubt was right behind you, dragging you back. You wanted to believe in yourself. You wanted to rise, but every time you tried, something inside you froze, and they knew it. the ones who laughed at you, the ones who called you a joke. They knew you would crumble under the weight of your own hesitation. And that's the part that eats at you the most, isn't it? That maybe, just maybe, they never needed to destroy you, because you were already doing it to yourself. But listen to me, right now. Look at yourself, not with their eyes, not with doubt's voice in your head, but with truth. You are not weak, you are not worthless. The only thing holding you back is the belief that you are. And that belief, it's a lie, a beautifully constructed, deeply ingrained, expertly crafted lie. A lie they fed you, a lie you swallowed, but a lie nonetheless. So the question remains, will you keep choking on it? Will you keep dragging those chains of doubt behind you? Or will you finally stand up and rip them off? You have a choice, drown in doubt or rise in defiance. Decide. They promised they'd be there. They swore they had your back. Ride or die, they said. I got you, they assured. But the moment you stumbled, the moment you needed them most, gone. No explanations, no goodbyes, just silence. The ones who smiled in your face, who laughed at your jokes, who claimed to understand your struggles. Where are they now? Where were they when the weight of the world crushed your chest? Where were they when you fell to your knees, gasping for air, drowning in your own pain? Nowhere. And that realization, it shattered something inside you. It wasn't just the loss of people, it was the loss of belief. The belief that you mattered to them, that you were more than just a convenience, more than just a stepping stone, more than just a chapter they could rip out of their story when it no longer suited them. You learned the hard way that people love you when you're easy to love, when you're winning, when you're shining, when your presence benefits them. But the second you become a burden, the second you struggle, the second you break, they disappear like ghosts. And so, you found yourself alone, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. The world felt colder, harsher, more unforgiving. Every person you once trusted became a question mark in your mind. Every promise became a lie. Every word of reassurance felt hollow. But listen to me. Listen carefully. That loneliness, that isolation, that ache in your chest from being abandoned by the people you once called family. It's not your curse. It's your blessing. Because now, you see the truth. The world wasn't designed to break you. It was designed to test you, to strip away the weak, the fake, the disloyal, to burn away everything that isn't real, so that what remains is unshakable, unbreakable. You are still here, betrayed, broken, scarred, but still breathing. And as long as there's breath in your lungs, there's fire in your soul. Maybe it's small, maybe it's weak, but it's there. And that's all you need. Because fire grows. And one day, the same people who left you in the dark will watch you set the whole damn world ablaze. They don't just want to see you fail. They need it. They feed off your struggle like parasites, draining your hope, reveling in your defeats. Your pain is their entertainment. Your doubt is their satisfaction. Your failure is their victory. They expect you to break, to quit, to surrender to the fate they've written for you. They don't just assume it, they count on it. They whisper behind closed doors, betting on your collapse. They watch you with smirks, waiting for the moment you throw your hands up and say, I can't anymore. Because to them, you were never meant to rise. You were never meant to succeed. In their eyes, you are nothing more than a footnote in someone else's story, a cautionary tale, a reminder of what happens when someone dares to think they could be more. But what if you refused? What if instead of crumbling, you stood? Instead of giving up, you grew stronger? What if you took every doubt, every insult, every smirk, and turned it into fuel? You see, they think silence is weakness. They think because you don't react, because you don't lash out, because you don't beg for their approval, that you've accepted defeat. But they don't understand the power of a quiet rise. They don't understand the strategy of stillness. Let them think you're finished. Let them think you've lost. Let them believe, for just a little longer, that you are exactly where they want you. Because when the moment comes, when you rise, when you strike, when you prove them all wrong, It won't just shock them, it will destroy them. They expect a reaction, they expect rage, they expect you to scream back, to fight with words, to beg for their validation. But that's where they're wrong. You don't rise by proving yourself to them. You rise by proving yourself to yourself. Let them talk, let them mock, let them convince themselves that their words have weight, that their opinions matter. Because while they waste their breath, you are building brick by brick, step by step, in silence, in discipline, in focus. Revenge isn't in words, it's in action. It's in the late nights when no one is watching. It's in the sacrifices they'll never understand. It's in the pain you transform into power. It's in the comeback they never saw coming. Because the greatest victories aren't announced. They are revealed slowly, relentlessly, unstoppable. Your rise isn't loud. It isn't flashy. It isn't built on petty battles or shallow wins. It's built on the kind of work they will never do, the kind of patience they will never have, the kind of fire they will never withstand. Let them believe they've won. Let them laugh while they can. Because when the time comes, when you finally step into the life you were meant to own, their voices will be drowned out by the sound of your success. And the only thing left for them to do is watch. Pain is not your enemy. It never was. It was your teacher, your fuel, your forge. Every wound, every scar, every night you spent screaming into the void, proof that you survived. Proof that no matter how much they tried to break you, you are still here. They thought pain would destroy you. They thought suffering would silence you. But all they did was sharpen the blade. You no longer carry your scars with shame. You wear them like armor. Every cut, every bruise, every betrayal, etched into your skin like war paint. They tell a story, not of weakness, but of resilience. You have trained in the darkness. You have mastered silence. You have built yourself in the fire they tried to burn you with. And now, you are something else entirely. No longer a victim, no longer their puppet, no longer their joke. You are their reckoning, because they spent years underestimating you, dismissing you, laughing at you. And while they wasted time feeding their egos, you are sharpening your mind, your body, your soul. Now you do not wait. You do not hesitate. You do not ask for permission. You do not seek approval. You take, you conquer, you become the storm. And when they finally realize what's coming for them, it will be too late. They don't see the late nights, the early morning, the hours you pour into your craft when the world is asleep. While they rest, you grind. While they waste time, you invest in yourself. While they party, you build. They think success happens overnight. They think it's luck, a miracle, a stroke of fortune. What they don't realize is that every win is earned. Every breakthrough is built on sacrifice. While they were laughing at your struggle, you were sharpening your skill. While they mocked your dedication, you were mastering your craft. They don't understand the work because they've never done it. They don't respect the grind because they've never had to push through the darkness alone. They will never know the battles you fought in silence, but one day they will see. One day the results will be undeniable. One day the very thing they laughed at will be the thing that leaves them speechless. Because success doesn't speak, it shows. And when they finally open their eyes, when they finally see what you've built, what you've become, they won't be laughing anymore. You used to think you had to prove them wrong, that every insult, every doubt, every laugh at your expense had to be met with a response, that you had to fight back with words, with arguments, with validation. But now you understand. You don't have to prove them wrong. They will do that themselves. When they see you rise, the tables are turning slowly, relentlessly, inevitable as the tide. The ones who once mocked you now whisper your name in disbelief. The ones who dismissed you now watch you in silence. They used to laugh. They used to doubt. They used to think you were nothing. But now they feel the shift, the weight of their own underestimation crushing them. Because nothing is louder than success, built in silence. And as you rise, as you step into your power, as you take what was always meant to be yours, there is no need to speak. Let them sit in the deafening silence of their own regret. Funny, isn't it? How the same ones who laughed at you, who doubted you, who swore you'd never make it, are now watching you with different eyes. The whispers have changed. No longer mockery, no longer dismissal. Now it's curiosity, envy, fear. They see it now. They see the work they ignored. They see the grind they never believed in. They see the results they swore you'd never achieve. And now they want to be close. The same ones who left you in the dark now reach for your light. The same mouths that spoke doubt now speak admiration. The same hands that never offered help now stretch out in fake support. But you're too far ahead now. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You don't need their sudden respect. Because where were they when you were in the trenches? Where were they when you had nothing but belief? Now they see you. Now they want to know you. Now they want to claim they were always in your corner. But they weren't, and they never will be. Because the joke isn't on you anymore. It's on them. You walk the same streets, pass the same places, see the same faces, but something is different. Something has changed. You, the ghosts of your past, still linger, whispering echoes of who you used to be. The fear, the doubt, the pain. They try to reach for you, try to pull you back into the version of yourself they once controlled, but they don't hold power over you anymore. You stand taller now. Your eyes don't drop. Your hands don't shake. The weight that once crushed you has turned to dust beneath your feet. Because you are no longer that person, the one who begged for acceptance, the one who sought validation, the one who allowed their words, their judgment, their betrayal to define you. That person is gone, and in their place stands someone they can't break, can't control, can't diminish. You face them now, not as the victim, but as the victor, not as the joke, but as the force they never saw coming. The chains have shattered, and now the past no longer haunts you. You haunt it. They used to laugh, loud, carefree, confident in their arrogance. They mocked your dreams, your struggles, your ambition, spat on your name like you were nothing. But now the laughter is gone, replaced with whispers, not of doubt, not of dismissal, but of fear. They never saw it coming, never thought you would rise, never imagined the same person they ridiculed would become the one standing above them. They assumed their words had power over you, that their rejection would break you, that their absence would bury you. But they were wrong. You weren't the joke. You were the setup, the silent build-up to a punchline they never expected. Because now the roles have reversed. Now they sit in silence watching the life you built, the success they swore you'd never have. And as they look at you, they finally realize they weren't laughing at you. They were laughing at their own ignorance. And the punchline was them all along. True power isn't found in revenge. It isn't in proving them wrong. It isn't in making them feel the pain they once inflicted on you. No, true power is indifference, because the opposite of love isn't hate, it's nothing. And that's what they deserve from you now. Not your anger, not your bitterness, not even your acknowledgement. They don't deserve your hate. They don't deserve your energy. They don't deserve a single second of your time. They spent years trying to break you, to diminish you, to make you believe that you were less than them. And now they watch, hoping, praying for a reaction, for anything that tells them they still matter to you. But they don't. Not anymore. Not ever again. You don't owe them words. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them a single glance over your shoulder. You walk away, untouchable, unstoppable, because the greatest revenge is not destruction. It's disappearance. Somewhere out there, someone is drowning in doubt, in fear, in the same kind of pain that once held you hostage. They stare at their reflection and see nothing but weakness. They hear the laughter, the insults, the voices telling them they'll never be enough, just like you once did. They're standing at the edge, wondering if it's even worth it to fight, wondering if they have what it takes to break free. And they need a sign, a reason to believe that transformation is possible. They need to see you, Because you are proof that pain doesn't have to be the end of the story. You are proof that rock bottom is not a grave, it's a foundation. You are proof that the fire meant to destroy you can be the same fire that forges you into something unstoppable. You didn't just survive, you rose, you conquered, you became something greater than they ever imagined. And now it's your turn to be the light for someone still trapped in the dark. Not by preaching, not by begging them to believe, but by existing, by walking in your power, by showing them without a single word that no matter how broken they feel, there is a way out. Because if you could rise from the ashes, so can they, and that is how you change the world. Look around. Every brick, every victory, every inch of the empire beneath your feet, you built this. Not them, not luck, not chance. You earned this. With blood, with sweat, with the nights no one saw, with the mornings where the only thing louder than your heartbeat was the silence of your struggle. They never gave you power. They never handed you a throne. They never even believed you belonged at the table. So you built your own. Because power is never given. It is taken, seized, ripped from the hands of those too weak to hold it. And now you sit on the throne they swore would never be yours. The throne they laughed at you for even dreaming about. The throne they tried to keep from you. But you didn't need their permission. You didn't need their approval. You didn't need their acceptance. Because you are the living proof that nothing is stronger than a mind that refuses to break. They never saw it coming. But it doesn't matter now, because they see it now. This is your moment. The moment they swore would never come. The moment they tried to rob you of. The moment they laughed at before it even had the chance to exist. And now you laugh. Not out of spite, not out of hate, but out of victory. Because they thought you were a joke. They thought your dreams were ridiculous. They thought your struggle was pathetic. They thought your failures were proof that you'd never rise. But you turned their doubt into your empire. You built something out of nothing. You transformed every insult, every rejection, every whispered criticism into fuel. And while they stood still, thinking they had you figured out, you kept moving, kept grinding, kept evolving. And now they stand in the shadow of what you've created, realizing the truth too late. The joke was never on you. It was on them, because while they wasted their time laughing, you were building the last laugh they never saw coming.